Hey, I'm Anna. Thank you for coming today. What I've been doing lately is trying to stream, but my camera would fall asleep every 3 minutes because the display had no ability to not do that. And so I borrowed a camera from Anthony, my photographer slash, he's actually a photo manipulator, but he has a bunch of photography equipment. And he is my best friend, and thank you so much, Anthony, for letting me borrow this amazing camera. So you'll see, look at that quality. You can see every pore. But what I love is the fall off. Like, look how blurry that is. That's awesome. Anyways, we're not going to be looking at my face much today. We're going to be looking at this piece. So this is an old piece of mine I did actually almost exactly 2 years ago. I found it in my January pile, which I filter everything by date. That's how I like to organize things. And it's kind of crazy that this was 2 years ago. It feels like yesterday. And I love this piece, but I do feel like it doesn't represent my current style. So I wanted to kind of update it and see what I could do to make it even more engaging. And I had some ideas. So I was just like, you know what? Don't hold yourself back. Just go for it. Zona Efly. I have no idea how I would pronounce that, but hi. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming along. So the first thing I'm going to do, and feel free to ask questions at any point, honestly, like I'm here for you. So just talk to me, tell me what you want. I am, well, if you don't know, I'm an Adobe Creative Resident. I'm guessing most of you that come here know that, but if you don't know what the residency is, it's amazing. I have gotten to spend most of the last year doing basically what I want with my life because Adobe has this program where that's a weird background color, where they allow you to pursue a project for a year, be a salaried employee, have benefits, have access to mentors that they help you connect with, so many things that are exactly what an artist needs, and time. Like, they have given me time. I was a concept artist for about 5 years, and I decided I wanted to move into children's books. And I've been making a children's book ever since. It's amazing, flippin' fantastic. I love it, and I can't say enough good things about it. I'm a little tired today, so I'm not as energetic about it, but I just want you to know it is the best thing ever. And the coolest thing is applications for the next year open today. So if you're thinking, hey James is in the chat and he says it has begun. So if you're thinking of applying, do it. Like, there is absolutely no reason not to. So if you have any questions about applications, how to do that, what's a good idea for a project, all that jazz, I am here for you. So please feel free to ask. And say hi to James, because he's in the other room. So he's like my cohort in this chat and all this. Zona, I'm going to call you, is applying but still have a ton of work to do on my application. You got a whole month, okay? You're fine. I applied, I think it was a day or two before the deadline. The deadline was a little bit later last year. I think it was February 25th, something like that. The deadline this year is February 7th, which I will be in New York for. So ask me questions now because I won't be able to answer them the day of. So what I want to do here is kind of sketch over this. I'm actually going to add a white layer and just kind of make it a low. No, come on, you let me do. That's not white. Make it lower opacity so you can kind of see through it. And then I'm going to just sketch over some of the elements here to see what I want to change about it, because I love a lot of the stuff, but I don't love all the stuff. Like, I think her stance could be a lot more engaging, and what she's holding that's glowing or whatever could be a lot more interesting. So James says, awesome, great job, Zona. The day of, yeah, we submitted, well, I say we because James helped me so much with my submission, and he was making sure that I got it in on time, and we literally submitted it that night. It's not a ton of time when you have to animate your whole pitch. Oh my gosh. That is awesome. I really appreciate that. That sounds like something I would love. On top of all the other things you do normally. Thank you, James. Yeah, we both love animation, so Zona, like, show us your stuff. I want to see it all. And kudos on going for animation for the application. I think if you're pitching an animation project that is very smart, and you don't have to have a ton, so don't feel like you have to make an entire movie or anything. Just show them, like, here's my skill set. That's all they need to know. But I love the idea of integrating what you want to do into your pitch, because I kind of did that too. On my Behance, you can see my application, and a lot of it is me drawing myself doing the things where it's like, I find a mentor, ha ha ha, look at me with mentor, that kind of thing. And they loved it. So, can you animate a pitch? Was it a PDF submission? Will do. Yeah, go for motion design. Nice. Sorry, I'm just reading too much. But yeah, James, they can basically do anything for a pitch. One of the residents last year, Aaron, actually did animate his a little bit. He had it was like a gorilla character climbing over a food version of New York City. And that was like part of his like, look, he's multi-talented, but it's photography. It was animation because it was photos, in motion, basically. But he used it in such a way that it was very unique. And what I think caught a lot of people's attention was he was photographing, and a lot of photographers are like, oh, cool, like, I want to do this thing and I want to do that thing and photograph them. But he was very specific and adamant that he wanted to dive into food, and the food aspect of it made it super interesting. Like, almost everybody just loves food, and that he was so into that and showing it in not necessarily like this super, chef's table way where it's just glamorous and gorgeous. It was a much more casual way that's approachable to the everyman, and it has just been super successful so far. But that's also because he works his butt off. It's crazy how much he does. Check out Anna's application. That got her the residency on her Behance. You put the link in there, or if you know InDesign really well, you can add GIFs to the PDF. That's nice. Going all out. Oh yeah. That's the plan. Just do the whole thing because it's fun. I mean, that is exactly what they want to see, is somebody who just does the work that they want to make. And of course, it's impossible when you have a job and you're like, I have to pay bills. Sorry, I can't spend all my time doing this. And that's why the applications, they're just asking you to show that you have this skill set, not necessarily have the entire project done. And then they give you that glorious, glorious time that we all need. So I'm just kind of roughing out the shapes that I liked in this one, kind of the idea of the composition. I should be going faster, but of course I'm trying to learn to talk while I draw. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Especially reading the chat. Like, I'm sorry if I miss anything that you guys say, but I think James is pretty much holding it down, so thank you, James. He should just be my cohort on this and come out here and read the chat to me, James, if you want to be on camera. I know he doesn't. Okay, so we've got foreground books here, and then we've got major compositions. This is where walking can happen, right in here. I love having overlapping elements where these two areas are spaces to the side. Boop, boop. And then over here you see that there's a gap between these two areas. So that's where you can walk and you can walk. Like, that's a good area of space to feel like there is dimension to this piece, even though it's pretty flat because you're looking straight on at a bookshelf, but still gives you avenues for the eye. You bleed the space. Okay, let's see. All right, I did have a question about the budget part. I'm pretty confused on how to do that part. I got some questions about this before, and I'll let you know. I just have to continue reading for a second. About to get back to work. She'll be doing an interview live Wednesday. You'll be able to ask her a ton of questions and see other people's too. It's true, but I will totally answer questions here too. So the part about the budget, I had a hard time doing that too. And honestly, they just want to know, in general, you are not meant to be an expert on this. And I don't think it's a huge crux of them choosing you or not choosing you. It's just to give an idea of, like, how much research have you put into this idea? Do you know what the market is looking at? What could possibly happen down the road? And one of the biggest things is also, dream as big as possible. They love to see when you're like, oh, well, for instance, when I was pitching a children's book, they're like, okay, what could the possibilities of this be? What if this children's book turned into a children's show? What if this children's book turned into a movie? Like, what if the biggest, boldest things that could happen happened? Because why wouldn't they? You have all these resources, this time, this beautiful money at your fingertips. So it's just kind of a question of how far will you go for it? And they want to know that you're willing to go the distance. But the budget part, I would try to do as much research as you can and ballpark it. So say like, if your goal is to make an animated feature, that's kind of a lot, but at least you have some kind of places to look for that, like indie animation houses. Email somebody from their team and be like, hey, I'm doing some research on a project. How much would it cost to make this? And possible collaboration, because animation in particular is very hard to do on your own. And of course, with any of these projects, you want collaboration. They love to see collaboration. So anything that you can do to figure out, ballpark what you're looking at, and don't worry too much about it. Like, that's not the most important part of your pitch. Do you need to factor in the equipment for the budget? That's so cool. You should have a little animated version of your story. I would love to. Oh my gosh. Well, that's when James learns full animation techniques, because we both took animation classes in art school, and he was so naturally good at it. Okay, I know he'll say not, but like he was, and we need to get back into that. So someday we're gonna get an animation table and maybe do some 2D animation to build up to some digital stuff and all that. But it would be really fun to animate our own stuff a lot and to see it animated in general. Ugh. Okay, so first I'm going to answer, do you need to factor in the equipment into the budget? In a way, it depends on what kind of equipment you're asking for. Like, say you were to get an animation table, those things can be pretty expensive. And I would say if it's an investment in your career, like the longevity of your career, you're probably going to buy it. But if it's something that is very specific to this year, say like, oh, I need a laptop to do these things, they actually do give you, here, I'll show you. This is a laptop they gave me for the year. It is brand new and it's beautiful. And they also have Intuos tablets. They have, oh gosh, what was the other thing? Oh, iPads. I also have an iPad from them. So that kind of stuff they let you borrow for the year. And other things, like I got this beautiful Cintiq and this whole HP computer for free because of brand deals from the Adobe Creative Residency. It's crazy how much I've gotten from this. Like, it would have taken me 10 years to save up for this whole setup, and I got it within a few months because I just talked to HP and they were like, yeah, we'd love to work with you. I talked to Wacom and they're like, yeah, we have this video you could be in. And then boom, they got me these things. It is pretty crazy what it does for you just in brand deals alone. But I would love to know specifically what equipment, just to know what you're thinking about. That's so cool. You should have yeah, yes, I need to invest in a sound designer. That's a really cool thing. I'm recording with my iPhone. Well, iPhones are really amazing now, so I don't know how good a quality that is. Probably really good. I took one online from MoGraph Mentor. I have no idea what that is. But yeah, that kind of stuff, like collaborating, is awesome. And especially, I think there is an auditory program that Adobe has. I think it's called Audition. Aaron Bernstein, our resident, the food photographer I was talking about before, he would probably know a little bit about that because he started doing a podcast, and he's, we're all trying to use as many Adobe products as possible so that we can talk about them honestly and be like, hey, this is what I use it for. This is how I like it. It uses Animate for doing the 2D. That's awesome. I love it. Yes. We need more animators in here. I want like a whole thing for just animators. Because it's such a vast field and everybody at Adobe is a huge animation fan. Like you say, Ghibli or Avatar The Last Airbender, anything, like everybody knows about it. They're like, oh yeah, like that's what made me feel like, oh, I found my people. They are so good. And they're all awesome. Okay. Really have to get into this. Sorry, I've been talking so much. I wanted to have her kind of looking in, so we might see an over the shoulder shot where you see a profile of her. This is at least what I was thinking. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. Love Audition. I'm terrible at using it. That's great. Well, we all get better. And if you wanted to get really good at using it, you could get a mentor from Adobe that uses or maybe programmed Audition, something like that. You know, like the biggest experts are at your fingertips when you get this thing. It's amazing. Sorry. You're not distracting me. I just, I talk too much. It's a problem, but I'm getting over it. So this is a good learning opportunity. I have to know when to look and when to not. Like when I'm talking and describing something big where it's like, oh, let me talk about setting a budget for the residency and stuff like that. I could be drawing while saying those things, but you know, I'm just trying. We're all trying in this world, don't you think? I'm making her a little bit bigger. I might change that later. We'll see. But please don't stop talking or anything. I still want to talk to you guys. I'm practicing actively on like talking and doing this. So feel free to tell me things. I think one of the biggest parts is I can't quite figure out where I last left off in the chat. It would be great if I could have a marker where it's like, okay, this is where you stopped, and then read down the next ones. So just quickly like roughing in ideas of what she could be doing, maybe reaching out for a book, but I want her to have, maybe it's a wand that's all like illuminated, because I still want the glowy stuff to go on down here, and in the old one the paper is the glowy stuff, so I want to kind of mimic that with something that she is interacting with or holding. And obviously I'm going through like the ugly drawing phase, which is totally fine because gotta get those drawings out somehow. All right. It's hard to multitask, yes. I'm supposed to be reworking my website, but I wanted to say hi and join in here for a bit. Thank you so much for joining in. And I know that website feeling. I've been doing that like constantly over the last few days. I just like tackle it a little bit at a time. And it was really frustrating the other day because I'm using Squarespace. I don't know what you're using, but it's pretty easy overall. But it had this error where like everything was the wrong template and it was all disconnected. So I could see it in the area where you have like your bank of images, but it wasn't on my website. It was just blank on the website. I'm like, great, how long has it been blank? But it's really rewarding to see your website all put together and how you want it. It's nice. And I need to keep on updating because I've got new work and like, you know, you got to reward yourself for having new work. I'm working WordPress with Semplice. Okay, these are all things I haven't heard of. You're amazing. Sounds like more impressive or in-depth than like I am able to do at this moment with my skill sets. But I have a cousin who works for Squarespace, so I'm happy to patron them. I don't know what that means. You know, use the website so that I can support her somewhat. Okay, well, she's not believably in the space yet, but I do feel like her pose is way more engaging now. I'm gonna have, like, I want our dress to be a more graphic shape, probably. Like, the original had kind of this marshmallowy kind of shape that was a little rounded, but also triangular. And so I kind of want to get that feel back. Because I definitely do like the original. I don't want her to be too lanky. I like her a little chunky. I do like the original, so I'm trying to keep as many aspects of that as possible, but you know, if something looks better a different way, I'm not tied to it. Have you guys ever done old pieces and like revisited them like this? So I've been doing it a fair bit this year, and it feels really nice because you don't have to redesign everything. Or at least look at a blank piece of paper and be like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna make out of it? It's all just kind of waiting for you. And honestly, today I was trying to think of new ideas and make new things, and I just couldn't. I was just like, my brain's not working that way today, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take an oldie and make it a goodie. You gotta ride that flow. When links break, it sucks. Yeah, I understand. I opened a portfolio piece and it was blank. I had to spend 30 minutes updating my plugins. Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks. Ugh, I know. And just feeling of like, I could be doing something else with my time, but I have to do this. That's just lame. Love the mood of this piece. The colors are amazing. I agree. I really like the mood of it. It feels like magic to me, especially because her head's floating right now. So, woo, she's a ghost girl. Yeah, you should redo some pieces. You have the bad habit of just leaving them alone. I totally understand. I didn't feel like I wanted to do old pieces or redo old pieces for quite a while because I honestly didn't like them enough. I was like, you know, might as well just make something new because I will enjoy it more. And now I feel like I almost have too much like brain power going towards the book I'm working on, so I need some lazy pieces. And that's where I started working on and I don't mean lazy in a negative way. I mean that you don't have to think about story behind it. And one of the things that I started doing was making patterns. And I was thinking of doing another pattern today. And I literally, it was just like, I don't even have enough for that. Like, I could paint a pattern if I already had a design, but I can't design a pattern right now. Which means I should probably recheck this design error, what do you call it? Like the redesign that I'm doing right now. When I come back to this another time, I'll probably just make sure that I didn't have a brain fart today and make it something weird. But so far I'm digging it. I feel like she's more engaged in the space because she's literally more engaged in the space. She's not just sitting there reading. Although I do love her design here. She's super cute. And on that tall chair, I love that. Maybe we can keep the tall chair in some way. I still feel like the smaller you make her, the bigger the whole space feels. Maybe she's just touching the edge, like peering around the corner of the bookcase, like that. Boop. And then I honestly think I'll just start throwing in some color layers. So what I'm going to do is copy this. I'm going to put it way down low. And I'm going to put these guys over this one. And I'm just going to start laying in some layers of the same colors in the areas that they are in. And I think for the start of it, I'll just start with like the marquee tool and the lasso tool. I don't usually like to use them because it makes me feel like I'm not painting. But right now, this is a really big piece, so I just want to get it done as soon as possible so that we can get to the good stuff, you know? And I'm going to add a few gradients as we go along because, oh, whoops. It's just going to make the whole thing faster as well. I'm actually going to go for this back one. Gee willikers. Something like that. Pretty purple. Yeah. I like the purples in this one a lot. Then the, what do you call this? Like bookshelf, topply, dangerously precarious. Precarious, there we go, that's the word. This whole area is going to be just slightly lighter. It's so funny how that looks like it's a gradient just based on the colors it's against. You know, that optical mixing or whatever it is. Alright. And we're just throwing shapes in there. I think, honestly, I'm going to redesign a lot of these shapes later on. But right now, I just want to see it all together. Because I can't visualize it until it's in there somewhat. The name of the game with this one is also temperature, so as it comes forward towards the glowy bits that she has, it's going to be this really warm red, and then the further away it is from the glow in her, it's going to be cooler blues, bluey purples. So this would be analogous, but then it's got a little bit of like yellowy orange. So maybe if it's purple, that would be opposite. So maybe a split complementary or just a complementary. I'm not sure. James would know. He always knows these like technical color schemes. I forgot all that stuff when I left school. Alright, I'm gonna do some brush work on this one while I have it here. And just kind of roughly imply some glow action because I want to remember that. That's too much. And we'll see as we go on with this one how much of this I keep. It's always a mystery. And then foreground. Might actually make these darker in the future. Or right now. What? Yeah. Oh, another thing I like to do with my pieces in general is create a black layer, set it to color. Right? I'm not doing that. So weird. Alright, so fill it with black, set it to color, and that's the truest way to see a black and white version of this. You forgot all your color theory. It's been too long. Geez, 7 years since freshman college. I feel that. I feel it every day. So right now we've got a lot of mid-tones, a little bit of dark, little bit of light. The overall tone of this piece is dark, so that would be a low tone. And I want it to keep with that. So like the lightest lights are very few, and then most of it's mid to dark tone. So we're just keeping that in mind as we go, not too light. Do 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 do. All right. Gonna do another gradient to this. That is not the correct color. That's still a little too light, I think. I'm gonna go for, whoops, wrong one. Is that crazy? Like, what am I doing? Boom, X, and then let's do this one. There you go. Boom. Gotta go to let the pupper inside. Oh my gosh, what kind of dog do you have? Because I need to know. I want a dog so badly. We're in this tiny, tiny apartment. If you can't see right now, my office is also my living room. And so we can't quite have a puppy in here, but someday. I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna get a pup, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna put a gradient on this bad boy too. There. Okay, this is something that my mentor has been teaching me to do more and more often, is to zoom out and see if it works at the size of a stamp. So real quick, I'm going to throw in this foreground, bunch of books. We're going to zoom way out. We don't even need this. We just need to see, does this guy work at that level, and especially in black and white. I think if we add more of the glow effect, like say, get a nice light thing in there. Here, let's go for this. I'd say so far that's working pretty well. We've got some darker up here, but it's not contrasting too much because everything gets darker as it goes towards the top. Contrast is obviously around her mostly. Then we've got some foreground books feeling like the composition is closed in around her, and it's a pretty narrow composition altogether. It makes you feel a little claustrophobic, and I like that. It's kind of what I'm going for. So I'm going to continue working on it. I think I'll rough up some edges maybe design a few of these actual shapes out. Don't need this sketch layer anymore. We've got enough to go off of to really figure it out from here. And what we need to start doing from now until we finish this piece, which is for any kind of piece that you're reimagining, you want to stop relying on the original at some point. I has returned what I miss. I don't think you missed very much. I was just filling in some gradients so that we could have something to work from. And I hope your puppy is all happy and good. Oh yeah, I was so sad about not having a dog, so I'm living vicariously through you at the moment. That's what you're missing. And I'm using this, I think it's the Bristle Balm. Yeah, Bristle Balm brush from Kyle Webster, which comes with every Creative Cloud subscription. Which, by the way, another added bonus to the Creative Residency, we get the Creative Cloud for life. What? It is amazing. I am always constantly just like, thank you, Adobe. So yeah, that's yet another big bonus to what we get. Because before I was clinging to my, I think it was 5.5, version 5.5 of not CC. So it was very nice to learn that. Yeah, what? I didn't know that. I just thought it was for a year. That's what we all thought. All of the residents, we were all, okay, so we were in New York for one of our first, like, things together, and it was 99U, which is one of their big conferences that you have to go to, so just know that you'll be going to 99U. And we were all, like, just going to bed in the hotel. We had gotten this handbook that they gave us. I don't think I have it right here. But it's this awesome handbook that they put together for the residents just to tell them, like, here, basically it's like a loose planner but guide to being a resident. There's tons of info in there, tons of people you should know, all that stuff. Very, very helpful. Andrea was looking through it, and she texted all of us, and she was like, guys, go to page 5. And we were like, what? Oh, what for? She's like, just look. And it said right there in print, so we couldn't deny it, you get Creative Cloud for life. And we all freaked out a lot. We were just like, we thought it was just for the year. Like, that was at the, like, edge of the iceberg where we didn't quite realize how much this was going to change our lives. And it literally just got better and better and better. Like, it continues to astound me how great it is. That's why I want everybody to apply. It is the best thing you could do for your career, for you as a person. It's just the best. So, apply. So I'd be so sad if they're just like, oh yeah, not enough people applied this year, so we're just going to get rid of one of the slots. I'd be like, it would be the worst. So take advantage. Please do the things. Make it a really strong year so that they know to continue it as much as possible. And maybe, just maybe, other companies will catch on that this is a beneficial thing to do for not only themselves financially, but for the art community. It builds careers. And it makes lasting relationships between all these creative folks that you can actually reach out to in the future. And it's just beneficial to everyone, basically. It's the best. I wanted to go to that, literally sat outside the building and waved at people. Are you from New York? That's so awesome. I've been trying to get my friends to apply and workshop proposals together. That is the best idea. If you could, like, bounce things off of each other, oh my gosh, that would be really beneficial. I would love to sit in on something like that and just, like, let people know what I think is good or bad ideas or whatever. I just don't have time right now. It's so sad. But it's a great idea. So get together with your friends and make it a group activity. But yeah, if you live in New York, I'm actually going to be there in February. So deal with that. I'm going for a children's book conference. SEBWI is one of the only conferences for children's book illustrators and authors. And so I'm going with actually the manager of the residency, Julia Tian. And she is awesome. And so I'm super excited just to have, like, a trip with her, but also excited to, get to know more illustration peeps. Get all those children bookies together. You love New York. Tell me if there's anything that, like, in particular you think we should see in New York. Because I'm actually having James, my best friend Anthony, who I'm borrowing this camera from, and my friend Ashley. All three of us, or wait, three of them and one of me, four of us, are also going to New York. One of the best things about this is that you can, if the hotel is okay with it, you can get some people together on these trips. That I'm getting a hotel for free from Adobe, and all my friends have to do is pay for their tickets, and then we get to go together. Now, I don't know if that rule is always going to stay, but I have never had a bad experience with it. I've checked with every hotel we've been at, and they're all totally fine with it. So it's been a ridiculously awesome experience getting to travel with my friends and my husband, and like just getting to share some of the experience. Now, I mean, I don't get to experience everything. Like when they go to New York, I don't get to like go to all the museums and do all the cool stuff. I am working constantly when I go on these trips. They're not time off ever. They are a ton of work, but it's all work you want to do because it's for your career and for your life. And I mean, if we're in our careers, you know, it's not just for money. It's not just for, you know, work sake or whatever. Like being a part of society, it is literally everything you care about is wrapped up into what you do. At least for me, it is. I was telling James the other day, I felt for the last like week or two after this break that I took for Christmas, I felt like every night when I went to sleep, I just wanted to continue to draw. Like I was frustrated by having to sleep. I just want to draw. Which is kind of ridiculous, but that's how I am right now, you know? And sometimes you feel like you'd want to do anything but draw, but it just depends. Now, I'm going to give a brighter spot here. Let's give it to her Lumos wand. Okay, well, no, but I was living there for a bit. I'm from Colorado and living back home in Colorado now. I just talked to Paul Tranny today, who I was supposed to do the live stream on Facebook with, and he lives in Denver. And I was like, oh man, cool people. Also, Chelsea Burton from last year's residency. She's an illustrator and does custom skateboards, and she's also in, I believe, Denver, right? Am I misremembering that? I hope she is. I went to BookCon out there. What's BookCon? Never heard of that. The Strand Bookstore. He's awesome. I'm from Boulder. From Boulder. That means you got the biggest rocks. That is nice Boulder. Now, I've never been to Boulder, Colorado, but I want to go. I want to go to all the places. One of the best things from this whole year has just been being able to travel and go see new places. Like, I went to Detroit for Icon, and I was like, I probably never would have gone to Detroit just for funsies. Like, I had no idea what to expect, but it was awesome. I really like that place. And of course, New York. I love New York, but it is, for me, a visiting town. I would never be able to live there. Here, I've gotten a little bit dark, so I'm going to up the, what is this, ISO, something like that. But yeah, that city life, man, it's just not for me. I need adventure in the great wide somewhere. I want it more than I can tell. Wow, that was a loud car outside. Did you guys hear that? Showing off their spoilers. You've got to hear that, right? That is loud. Dang. Just saying how I don't like that city life, and then boom, city life. No, I'm actually adjacent to Portland. I'm in Beaverton, so it's outside the city, very suburban, and very full of forests, which that's what I love. I want to just go on hikes and walks and be surrounded by trees and stuff. I don't like being surrounded by city and buildings. I mean, there's beautiful architecture everywhere, but like, I can't handle too many people and too much bad air quality. Like, my grandparents lived in Astoria, and that is like the purest air you will ever get. Just out at the beach. It's so good. And that's one of those places where I'm like, I could live there. Being out by the beach, being all beautiful out there. But then I come back to forests, and I think James and I have agreed that we never want to be landlocked, but it's not necessarily that we want to be right next to the ocean. More like probably an hour, 2 hours, something like that. Basically where we are now. We like it here. Yes. Loud car is loud. It's so true. Living in New York was fun, but I didn't know if I could live there forever. I need mountains. Yeah, I totally feel that. Fresh air is something you can't replace with just like anything. Which is where, so we're kind of in this conundrum right now where we don't know exactly what James's job is going to be this next year, and that is going to greatly decide where we go. So at the moment, I can work anywhere because I am an illustrator. I'm working from home. Guys, I'm actually signing with an agent soon, hopefully, if it all goes well. And so that kind of stuff is like super awesome and very encouraging. And I could be anywhere with this career. So what happens, when I can go anywhere, but James needs to go to a studio. He's a character designer for animation. So we're considering things. We might have to move to LA, but we'll see. I love Portland. I love nature and not LA things. However, if it's beneficial for the career, it's really hard to say, like, no, I won't do something. Gotta be open to something, because it'll just kill your career if you're not willing to do those big things, Luckily, we actually have a lot of friends who just moved down to LA for work stuff, so we could have a little community down there if we need to. Now I'm checking her values, because the two most important things for this piece are that the values of the background read and the values of her read. Right now she's getting lost, so I'm going to have to work on that. I've got the Beauty and the Beast song, I want adventure in the great white somewhere. I want it to play in my ears. Very different from the rest of us. It's different from the rest of us as well. I think I might make her hold tights darker. Kind of ground her a little bit more. You're grounded. And then her skin is going into the background glow. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah. I think that background glow area needs to just back off. What could she be holding that glows, that feels like this? Maybe it should be over here? Maybe she's reaching for the glowing book in the library. Ooh, is that interesting? Maybe. And all the lighting on her is wrong, but that's fine. We can change it. Come on, go out of there. Windows, whatever you are. Windows 10, man. I did not like it. But that's my gripe. I'm gonna toss some of this. This was one of the things that I like the least about this piece, is how the floor turned out over here. So I'm gonna try to find some way to really reconcile it, make myself happy about it. This is just therapy for me. Just being like, I can fix the past. I can make it better. And you'll see me skipping all over the place now, because I'm just kind of going crazy with whatever I feel like is the most needed thing at the moment. I feel like this needs to get knocked back a bit. We need more area over here. Maybe not that much. Very different from the rest of us. A lantern, that's a good idea too. Yes, that's a lot nicer version of the library episode from the doctor where the shadows won't eat you. Oh man, that was one of the best episodes. I love that one. Where it was just like, oh, whoops, there's a skeleton in an astronaut suit. My bad. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Libraries can be real creepy. Or real magical. I don't know. Anybody else Harry Potter fans? Because I totally am. And I feel like one of the the key factors in it feeling so magical is that like library aspect where it's something unknown in every single book, so that mystery creates the feeling of magic where you're just like, oh, but what knowledge could there be inside these books? Go see Cursed Child. Cursed Child. Yes, actually, when I went to 99U, Anthony came with me and he saw Cursed Child on Broadway, which was the coolest thing. I was just like, thank you for taking advantage of this moment. However, I didn't get to go, and I probably won't get to go either because it's an all-day play. And I don't think the powers that be would be cool with me being like, hey, could I just take a day in New York to go see a play? They'd be like, what? Are we paying you to do this? However, maybe I could write it off as like inspiration that I needed. But the cool thing is if you want to extend a trip, you can pay for like, you know, say I had a friend who lived in New York, which actually I have Erin, so that could work. And I could stay at their place and they'll still pay for the flight because it really doesn't make it more expensive for them to pay for a flight a day earlier. It's just that they don't want to have to pay for a hotel room when you're there for personal reasons. Totally reasonable, and I get it. But yeah, that kind of stuff, like, they've always been super cool about it. Yet another reason to love those guys. You can say it's research. It totally is. Can you split it up into 2 days? I did not know that. That would kind of kill me. I don't know. Maybe I could do that. Because then it's more reasonable, like, schedule-wise, but not knowing what happens in the second half. Feeling like, oh, I'm not sure what's happening yet. Oh, that'd be, like, such cliffhangeriness. I don't know how they leave it, but still. Because the lighting work and illustrations of the posters is really amazing. See if you can make it with friends. Make friends with the set designers. I totally want to. That would be awesome. Oh man. I would love to know anybody who works on like Broadway stuff. The work that goes into those plays is just insane. And yeah, there's no reason not to. I mean, when I went to Icon, I met Shauna Parmesan, who is a fantastic artist and also makes brushes. And she is a big fan of plays. I feel like she would be that person who is just like, okay, I'm going to go make friends with the people in the backstage. Bye. Like, gotta go make the true friends out there. But yeah, that kind of stuff I would love to do. I want to go see more plays and magic things and all that jazz. Gotta fill your brain, you know, your creative bank. I want to go to the zoo too. I always told myself I was going to bring my niece and nephew to the zoo this year because I could literally write that off. Like, and Adobe said they would pay for it too. Like, hey, that's research. You need to be around children and like see them to get ideas and all that stuff. So it makes sense. Still haven't done it. Just need to. This is looking really ugly right now. Sorry, guys, but this is the process, you know? You just have to get through the ugly to get to the pretty. And I guess since this is going to take, like, time to flesh out, I think I would design a little bit more of that. Let's work on designing her so that we have a little bit of payoff before I say goodnight. Use that as an excuse to go and see it. It's super inspirational, totally. I really should, like, push myself to stretch the limits and, like, see if I can do all the things. Maybe Julia and I could do it as, like, an entertainment night. Let's go see it for a day. I think there's some cool children's museums you could go to. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I don't know of many children's, like, in Portland we have OMSI. But it's not strictly for children. Like, they have a children's area. Sorry, I keep pressing the Windows button. But it is a science museum. And it's super awesome. I love going there. It's just kind of expensive. But what was I thinking? Oh, San Francisco. If you get the residency, you're going to go to San Francisco several times because that's where the headquarters is. And well, the biggest headquarters San Jose, but our managers work out of San Francisco, which is of course a wonderful town. And uh, they have a children's museum that just opened back up there, so I need to go to that next time I fly down. I would love to go down. One of the one of the most fun experiences I had on the residency so far was doing Adobe Live, so I want to get back into that kind of thing. And I mean, I had the goal of streaming before any of this happened. Like, I didn't know I really liked streaming until I actually was on Adobe Live. And I was like, this is awesome. And honestly, like, it would be really cool if I did have a moderator on here who could read me the chat, because I feel like I only lose flow when I'm reading it, you know? Let's read it. Is it Andrea Hawkins St. Louis? Yes, she is. There's one that's really good and inspired by Meow Wolf there. No way. Okay, so I know of Meow Wolf only because of 99U, which brings the whole thing full circle. Which, if you don't know what Meow Wolf is, look it up. It is super cool. Like, that is one of the most experimental collaborations and weird things that I've ever seen. Love it. And perfect for a children's museum. It's literally just they make magical and fantastical things into real life. Like, oh, hey, you want to go through a refrigerator into another world? Like, we built that. So cool. Wonder why they came up with the name Meow Wolf. Because they looked at a wolf and they were just like, meow. You know, I used to do this, like, super, not super, but like what do you call it? Stylized realism. Like realistic kind of side of thing or style of drawing, but in a stylized way, so I could, you know, exaggerate proportions and things like that. And now sometimes when I look at my drawings, I'm like, oh man, I wonder if somebody watching this for the first time doesn't think I know anatomy at all. I'm like, you know, you draw what you draw, and I shouldn't think thoughts like that, because whatever you draw should be like beautiful in its own right. But I think it's still a journey for me going from one style to another and getting used to that. If you've ever switched styles that you're working in, it's very takes a while for your brain to catch up with you, I feel like. I'm so excited for the Denver one to open. Oh man, I wish they would do it in Portland. It'd be so cool. Yeah, it's an artist collective, and they pulled it out of a hat to get the name. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Went to the Denver Startup Weekend, and the CEO was there telling us stories. Oh man, that is awesome. I love it. That sounds like a really cool experience. I'm really glad that like things like that can exist, honestly. Some crazy wackadoo ideas, and people are like, yeah, I want to fund that. I want that to happen. I'm into that. And seeing them at 99U was just really inspirational, because they're all just like, hey, dream big. If you have ideas, let us know. Just like, I have so many ideas. I actually wrote down a whole idea while they were talking about like exactly what kind of magic I love in the world. And so I was thinking like nature-based stuff, where if you were to literally walk into a tree and it was like the most beautiful scenes you could possibly imagine inside of a tree, or like, you know, looking out the window of it, you see just like every window having a different view of the world or something, like literal dreams that you would have. Would love for something like that to exist. It'd be so cool. And I would stay there. I'd just pay $1 million to be like, can I just make this a hotel, please, for me? Alright, let's zoom back a little bit and figure out if she's looking okay. Really like the simplicity of the face over here, so I'm going to try to keep with that a little bit. We'll see how simple. Now you can't tell which leg is which, and that's what's bugging me, I think. Yeah, I think all the leg positions are bugging me. And let's make her design a little bit stronger, make the shape a little bit more pronounced. I want her to look like an every witch, where it's like, she's not super fancy, she's just kind of, could be a student, could be a midway along, you don't know. She's just an every witch. Maybe a bow with some tassels. I don't know. Oh my gosh, yes, they need to do a Meow Wolf hotel. It'd be so cool. I think they had one exhibition outside of a motel in Vegas, and I believe it was temporary. I believe it. They do all the experimental stuff, so they could have something that's just like, oh yeah, it's open for an hour. Come see it. No, they gotta make money, I guess, but I wouldn't say like no way they wouldn't do that to anything, because they've probably done it. So that's a good sign, right? That they have that kind of reputation. Do I want her walking? I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. That's what I want. Can't you tell? Such a good singer. Should I have her foot bending or nay? We'll deal with it for now. No, it's kind of weird. Oh man, that's a big compliment. Your style reminds me a little bit of the Wildwood book covers. I love Wildwood. That's oh my gosh, I know her name. Carson Ellis. She is so good. Yeah, I am deep in love with her artwork, and she's from Portland, so haha. Yeah, that's another contact that I should definitely try to reach out to, just to see people who are in Portland, you know. It's such a weird thing, like, getting to know all the people from the residency and learning that, like, people are cool, and I like people, and I like being around them. It's not necessarily, like, a big revelation to me. I always knew I was slightly more of an extrovert than an introvert, but I still feel anxiety going out and talking to new people where I'm like, I'm not quite sure how this interaction's gonna go, and I'm a little bit nervous about it. And I feel like that's just a human thing that you have to get over, but I'm still having struggles getting over it. But you know, when you do actually go through with it and meet new people, it's so rewarding. And I need to do stuff with groups of people writing books. This is my next step I think I'll take after the residency's over, is like really connect with the base of people who are writing books, children's books around here, so that I can get together with them and have critique sessions, which would be so great. I have at least one friend that I know really wants to get into children's book writing, and I want her to just kind of be my life ring. Just hold on to her while I'm talking to strangers and be like, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay. But you know, it's just human. I'm 100% an introvert, but everyone thinks I'm an extrovert because I talk a lot. Well, same. I think we're the same person. Yeah. I feel very much like I can talk to people, but I just don't want to. Until I'm talking to them. It's so funny. I was also telling James that like good conversation does energize me, which that's supposed to be the definition of extrovert, is you get energized by the other people. And so I feel like when I'm really into a conversation, I'm like, I really am interested and I dig this, like the vibe of everything that's going on, I could go for hours. But if it's like I can't talk to you fluidly, like I can't get a conversation going, you don't really seem to want, like, you want to talk to me, or like anything just kind of makes it a struggle, I'm instantly out. Like, I am out of energy. I want to go home and sleep for days. Like, it zaps me. There was one party that we went to. I'm not going to say what because I don't want it to trace back to anyone or anything like that. But one of the many parties that we had in the residency where it was just kind of, I talked to one person, we totally meshed, and it was awesome. And I was like super jazzed for that night. And then I talked to another person, and it was literally the most difficult conversation I've ever had in my life, where it was like, I bring something up, and they're just like, one word answer. And I bring something else up and they're just like, I don't actually like that. Or like something like that where I'm just like, so what do you think of like X, Y, Z? Just nothing back. And it killed me. I was just like, okay, let's go back to the hotel. Bye-bye. And so yeah, that's how I function, I feel. I can talk for hours, but then the next 12 hours are me reading or sleeping. So yes, that is great. And I would say to any introvert going into the residency, like, you will have to talk, but just be aware that, like, if you know something's coming up where you have to talk a lot, take all the extra time you can to relax and to, like, recharge as much as you can before and after, because it's super important to not burn out on those kind of things. And we've also, all of us residents have agreed that there is definitely a social media burnout as well. If you've noticed, I have gone from, like, I mean, throughout the residency, I've gone from posting, like, as many times a week as I possibly could to, like, maybe 2. Because I found myself feeling like I was getting anxiety just picking up the phone. Like, I did not want to check Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. And it was just because I couldn't get into it anymore. It was too much anxiety. And that is never what anybody wants, especially Adobe. They can't have you sidelining yourself. Like, it's not okay to just be like, oh, I can't function anymore, bye. So they want you to take care of yourself. And they regularly check in on us to make sure that we're okay and not feeling too much pressure and too much stress. Of course, there is pressure and stress that comes with it. There's not ever going to be a residency that's like, no, I'm totally fine, everything's cool. Like, there is absolutely no pressure, or like, these things didn't go wrong and I have to fix them, or like, huge stakes if I mess this thing up or whatever. Like, that kind of stuff will happen, and you just have to be okay with it. And I think that's a great teachable moment for residency goers. It's just like, hey, it's not the end of the world. You will be fine, and you have to just kind of roll with it and teach yourself to be resilient, which is wonderful. You come out of it a much stronger person, and I know I have already, and I still have months of it to go. So I'm looking forward to what the rest is going to teach me. Yes, awkward combos are hard. I'm used to that. My whole job in NYC was doing social media. Ugh. I mean, good job, but that's rough. It's rough when you have to post constantly. It is really, really rough. I did not expect myself to, I don't know, like, you're so excited at the beginning. And obviously you want to post as much as possible, but especially with something like a children's book, it's really hard to get postable content every day. It's not something where it's like, oh, look at this beautiful piece I made. And honestly, that's what I used to do almost all the time when I was working my other job, but they didn't have enough work to keep me constantly occupied. I would churn out like a piece a day and loved it. It was really fun. However, making a book is like 50% in your head. It is a lot of ideation. And so it's not like something where you can just sit there and be like, okay, think of an idea. Got it. Like, I'm going to make this super narrative piece, and it's going to fit in with the rest of my story, and it's going to be the perfect composition to tell everything. So I just had to kind of come to terms with, hey, I'm not going to be the poster every day. I'm not going to be the, like, food podcast, whatever I can make, I'm going to be a book. And a book is what it is. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. My manager and her higher ups and everybody like sees the work that I'm doing, and I am enough for it. It's like everything else. You got to tell yourself you are enough. I usually post the behind the scenes when I don't have anything. Oh, totally. Using every piece of what you can is everything. Like, trying to pull every little bit out of it. I love doing that too. It just depends on the piece. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I have enough to do, and or I have enough like there to show people. And other times I just don't feel it. And again, when I started feeling that anxiety of like, oh, I don't want to pick up the phone, I was just like, I don't care to post even if I have something to post, and that's a really bad feeling. Whew. Throwing a little highlight on her just to see how it looks. Doop. And I'm just pulling colors from the old piece, which is one of the great parts of having an old piece to pull from. Is pretty awesome. Gonna add a little blushiness to her cheeks, because I like doing that. That's too bright. Quality over quantity. It is the golden rule. It's so, so true. I think her other arm is feeling a little bit awkward now. You'll see I get really messy with my pieces. The last thing I do is clean them up. And that is the best way to get what you want out of something, is just mess it up. But like make the changes really quickly and with nothing held back because you're afraid of making a mess. Okay. Now that I have her general outline and she's pretty cute, I'm gonna add a little bit of the lines over her. This is something that I choose to do for my style. I like doing a really loose, rough, what do you call that? Like the bristle balm brush where it's got a lot of rough edges to it. And then over that, I'll use a pencil-ish kind of brush and add some lines over it. And sometimes there'll be darker versions where it's like, oh, this dark blue over the dress. And I could add these little tick marks that make it feel textured and handmade. Maybe some like nice pattern around the edge or something like that. Just gonna do tick marks for now. And this can change at any point, obviously. Cute. And then sometimes I'll add like gold embellishments where it feels like a little bit decorative, like for the sake of illustration, you know, you're going out of the realistic world and you're just going for decorative. So let's see if I like any of that. I might put a few, like, make it feel like it's almost iridescent or metallic a little bit in the light areas. Something like that. Maybe even put some strands of hair in gold. And you know, when it's illustration, you can do whatever the heck you want. There are no rules. Just right. But honestly, that's what I love going from concept art to this. It's so much freer. Using a little bit of that bluish purpley from the dress, I'm going to lighten it a little bit to make tick marks on her tights. One of the artists that does these tick mark kind of techniques really well is Taryn Knight. If you've seen her work, she's the queen of hand painted, where it just feels so charming. Love it. Watching people draw is so relaxing. Oh, I'm so glad. Grab a cup of tea, darling. And I'm gonna do a darker kind of red purple. Put some banding on her hat. Yeah, she's worth following. Heck yes. She's awesome. And also a really nice person. I've talked to her a few times and she's nothing but lovely. Another person that I've drawn some inspiration from for the textures that I use and things like that is Zoe Persico. She's also a really great one to follow. I'm going to put some marks around the hat edge. This could kind of imply some perspective, but I don't want to get too into it because, again, illustration is not necessarily about showing you understand space and perspective and things like that. It is about literally this is the the product that you're making, and it needs to look the best that it can look. I'm going to clean this up just to add some definitive edges to it because right now it's looking on the sloppy side of like not shape designed, and I want shape design. If you guys have any questions about workflow or the residency or anything like that, you just let me know. Yeah, this is a little bit better. I think I follow her on Twitter or finished that coffee I made at 7 a.m. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what? You're in like 1 hour before me time zone, right? So is it 6:40 where you are? So Persika's work is beautiful. Yes, it is. I mean, I only follow the best artists, so. But no, I've got a whole list of just fantastic artists that I use in my dream portfolio. Hey, do you guys know about dream portfolios? Because those are a cool thing. This is something that my mentor actually made up, I think, when we were still in school. He was actually a teacher of mine before he was my mentor. And the process of making a dream portfolio is basically you take all of the artists that you admire the most, like you love their work, you love a specific piece of theirs. It doesn't have to be everything they've made, but just like a specific piece. And you put it all into a folder and collect it. Like this can take a day or it could be years of buildup of just your favorite work in this world. And you dissect it. You take it apart. You like put it in a PDF and just kind of mark out what you love about it and why you love it. So it could be, mark making, it could be the textures, colors, values, any kind of principle of design that they use really well and you want to reflect in your work. And then you do some master studies of it, and you will always have that work collected and there for you to use. And so one of the things I did at the beginning of the residency was, because I talked to Lee, our very first conversation was him saying, yeah, so your work looks kind of like concept arty and not necessarily children's booky, and it's also not purely you. Like he saw other artists' work in my work, and not in a way that's like I was taking inspiration from them, but more in a way like what do you want to look like? What do you want your artwork to look like itself? And so I was, forced to take a look at it and be like, okay, so what can I do to make myself not only true to what I want to create, but also a children's book artist, because it is different from concept art. I always figured, like a lot of artists say, that if you create enough work, it's going to be in your style no matter what. And I realized that's not necessarily true for what I was doing at that time. It was definitely something that I had to consciously decide to remake and build up from. So over the last few months, if you just like look at my history of posts and stuff, you'll see there's a definite difference in when I started to use my own style and to figure out what I wanted that style to be. There's even a post that I called out all the artists on my dream portfolio. And I think that was really awesome because not only did I get to like shout out these fantastic people, but some of them replied and I actually got to like talk to the people that I admire the most in the art world. Like that is awesome. So I would highly recommend putting together a dream portfolio and doing the work to actually study it. I know I should do more of it. Everybody should. It's kind of like figure drawing where everybody's just like, oh, I should do that. I know it'll be beneficial, but I need to do that. And so that kind of stuff that can make or break, change, turn around a career can be awesome. Oh, you're 1 hour ahead, time traveler. You're just like Doctor Who. I saw you talk about this on live. It's such a cool idea, and I've already recommended it to my illustrator friends. I've been using it toward my MoGraph style. What is MoGraph? Do I know that? It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure if I'm like, contributing the right thing to the right word. But awesome. Good job. Motion graphics. There you go. That's why I was like, it's familiar. It's there somewhere. Motion graphics. Yes, totally. I think that it would help anybody in a visual field. Like it is literally just putting the puzzle pieces together of inspiration and making sure that you're just doing the most logical steps to get where you want to go, which everybody misses. Like that's basically what Lee is to me. He is the person who just points out like okay, you're doing this, but you could be doing like this, where it's just A to B. It's much easier. Why aren't you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. How is your brain so good? And that's sometimes what you really need is just an outside perspective saying, hey, there's an easier way. And the perspective has to be the right one, of course. I think Lee is special in that way, where he just has a knowledge base and like almost like a gut feeling. I feel like he is kind of unique in that way, to just know there is a best way to do this, and I'm going to find that way, and it's going to be like so good that other people want to know the way I did that. Maybe I could do some kind of patterny line work on this floor. Let's see. Maybe receding. See, this one's kind of a tough piece in a way because it does have perspective to it. And if you know children's book illustration, there is perspective, but most of it is very intentionally off. And so that's a thing also. And obviously you have to know perspective pretty well to do it in an off way that works. So I have the lines receding back here. Hopefully that'll make it feel like the floor is a surface. And a lot of times when I do these kind of patterny approaches to things, I try out like 5 at least, just to see what kind of one I want. And usually you'll be like, oh yeah, that first one works, it's fine. And then the second you try another one, you're like, oh, that's way better. And then the third one's like, that's the one, okay. And then you try 2 more just to make sure. Animated graphic design. That sounds like something they would love at the residency. So I'm so glad that you're applying. And I really want to see your proposal when you have it ready, obviously. But if anybody needs any feedback on things, I am totally open to do that. I am making time for you guys because I want everybody to present their best work. It is very like personally important to me that this residency continues to thrive, and a big part of that is just having residents who are there for it, you know. Like, it is one of the best things that I can imagine for artists. So if we squander this opportunity, then we will have wasted something amazing. But if we continue to have really good representation within the residency, they're gonna continue the residency. I'm always so afraid that they'll just be like, actually this project isn't, you know, A, B, or C for us, so we're gonna cut it. And I'm just like, no, this is what every artist needs. It's so important. I think I lost my pattern a little bit back here, but that's okay. That feels pretty cute. We've got 4 people and only Zona's talking. Come on, guys, you gotta talk to me. But thank you so much. I'm still gonna call you Zona. Sorry, I feel bad because it doesn't sound like your real name or anything, but you, I know you. Yeah, I'm excited. This is definitely a lot of work for proposal and just for my goals in general. But honestly, one of the best things is, even if you don't get chosen for the residency, you have that to show people and say, hey, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, that is a huge thing. Trying to use it as a baseline for mapping out the year, and if I get it, I can double down and work on it even more, yes. But if not, then it's there. Exactly. You understand. You get it. It's so important to just be able to show people what you want to do with your life. And it's exactly how you get other jobs. If you don't have any example and it's all in your head what you can do, then it's in your head. Nobody else can see it. It's unfortunate, but it takes putting it down, making the thing. Which of course takes a lot of effort and time. Once again, I know. I was at a job where, not to knock the job at all, of course, it was wonderful in its own way, and I got it right out of school, so that was like all you could ask for, basically. But at the end of when I was there was just not enough work for me, and so I was basically in poverty. And so getting this residency was not only, you know, like, oh, awesome, this is the coolest thing. It was like, you have literally saved my life. Do you understand how at the brink I was? Do you know what you did for me? And I said that to Julia when she called me to tell me that I had gotten it, and I was just like, you don't even know. You don't know how important this is. And she was like, I do. I really do. And that made me feel like she loves her job. Which is great, because you want to work with people who really are invested in what they do. And she for sure is. She's a wonderful person, and I feel like every single thing that she's ever done in her life, she's probably been fully invested in. She's just that kind of person. So amazing, and so work-hearted. What does that mean? She works hard. There you go. So now we've got a quilted floor. It looks like, kind of. Lol, Zone is cool. My name is Kendall. Oh, okay, you're Kendall. I know you. Okay. But I like using Zonefly for all my usernames. I understand. But yeah, Kendall, thank you so much for talking to me tonight. It's great having just somebody to interact with and feel like I'm, not talking into the void. I've had in the past. I've done 3 streams now. This is my 3rd stream ever on my own camera and my own setup. Of course, I did Adobe Live, but that was a professional setup, and like all the people come to that, which was really fun. But again, the big key thing there is somebody reads the chat to you, and it's so cool when they do that. But if you didn't catch, I am going to have a live stream on Wednesday covering Q&A. So I'm not even going to be drawing. I'm just going to be answering questions. And it's just going to be about the residency. So I think they'll have a lot of really good blanket answers where it's like, what countries does the residency cover? What kind of things will make my application stand out? What kind of, applications are you looking for? How much experience? All that kind of like pretty generic question lines, which a lot of it could be answered in the FAQ section of the residency website, but I'm going to try to add, as much personal information as I can and just make it as like, this has been my experience as much as possible. But you're going to hear a lot of the same answers that I would give on here, so feel free to ask questions here, of course. I want everybody to feel like they have ample information. I remember last year when I was trying to look up stuff about the residency, I was like finding some of the website stuff where it's like interviews with Andre or Natalie Liu had quite a few things on the internet to like look at, things like that. But I didn't feel like there was even enough. I looked for hours and I read everything, and I still felt like not quite sure what this residency thing is. I'm guessing at a lot of these things. And I was even talking to Sid Weiler, who was a previous resident. She was the one that I actually found out about the residency through. And so a lot of it still is taking, excuse me, I just burped, taking a shot in the dark and just kind of hoping that it works out. But I want to provide you as much knowledge as possible so that you don't feel it's completely dark. Just a little bit shady, but not completely. Now I'm marking out some like bookshelfy things, just in general. But one of the things about this new style that I'm going for is I'm trying not to outline things. I'm trying to have the shape of the rough brush kind of work define the shapes, and then the lines are just adding mark making. They are just the cherry on top, Like for her, if I took away those lines, she's still pretty much the same. Put the lines in, she adds a little bit of detail, a little texture. I'm gonna make the spots or the lines on her dress a little bit darker. Stand out a little bit more. Yeah, it's a good break from the stress of job searching. Job searching sucks. I hate job searching so much. I did that for like a year straight of just looking for jobs, and it was one of the most draining tasks I've ever had to do. I think throwing your resume and like portfolio work and all that jazz into a black hole that is the internet is one of the most demotivating things you could possibly do. And what I've learned again through the residency is that people hire who they know a lot of the time, and it's very unfortunate, but it's also really fortunate when you know the people. So meeting people who work at places and like do the things that you want to do, things like that, it's really good to make those connections. Is this the line? Okay, there we go. Line layer. I really only had Sarah's to look at when I first applied, but this year I feel like I actually know so much more. That's awesome. Now my proposal will actually be reflective of what is wanted rather than just a random one-off piece. Totally. That is exactly how I felt. I applied last year, and now I completely see why they didn't pick me, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I get it. I know so much more now, and I'm really lucky that I did get picked. Like, I still just don't... How am I me right now? I don't understand. It's crazy. But it's still one of those things that, like, it's going to change every year. What they want is a little bit different. They always want something that's literally different. So the more people we have, it's like you can't quite copy what other people have done. One of the things I've heard a lot, actually, and the other residents said that too, is that they've met a lot of photographers who want to, or videographers, either or, that want to cover creative lives. So they want to find people who are doing, you know, artwork of some sort and just document what they're doing and kind of show off the creativity around them and things like that. And that's almost exactly what Sarah Dici did. So that's a little bit hard to be like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to ever tell somebody, like, don't do that idea. But if they're looking for advice, they gotta, like, change it up in a way that is not Sarah's. Like, they have to make it personal in something, in some fashion. Which is really hard to demand from people, because, like, what if that's their passion? They just want to do that one idea. And I don't know what to say about that. Maybe if they put it together in such a good way that, like, they can't deny it, it's undeniably good, then they will get picked, and I'm totally wrong. You never know. Those colors look so ugly together. What? Yeah, it really is demotivating. It's harder because I'm trying to do motion graphics and coming from a social media background. Totally. Switching up what you're doing. Again, this is why the residency is like, we love people who are like switching from one to the other, because they're literally one of the only ways that that can happen. There are so few ways to make that leap. And so them giving you a year to make the jump is like, it's the best. But the throwing stuff into the outer area, one technique that James came up with, actually, because we were both looking for jobs at the same time, great time, it was talking to people on LinkedIn. So I know that a lot of people don't like LinkedIn that much. I hate LinkedIn, honestly. But it is one of those places where you can find, like, oh, Charles works at a company that I want to work at. Maybe I talk to him about his experiences there and stuff like that. And so that was one of the turning points in his search, where he actually got to talk to people rather than throwing something in an email from a website. Like, it's just so impersonal when you just chug along and it's website after website and you do this for days and days and you feel like that's gotta have some payoff, right? I tailored every resume to the thing that I was applying to. I, you know, talked about their dog or whatever, you know, like whatever personal things you could put in there. And nothing comes back. I was so happy to get a rejection because that meant they had looked at something I sent them. And that is just sad. That is like, that's not something that should be allowed. That's, the world shouldn't be allowed. But yeah, that, I understand the feeling completely. And I know that, like, the residency is this golden, beautiful thing, especially when you're in that position. But, like, just know, even if it doesn't happen, even if it doesn't work out, which this is what I had to tell myself every single day before I got the news, because it could have gone either way easily. And I was just like, okay, I have to be okay with if this doesn't work out. This is not going to end anything. This is a potential beginning, but it's not a potential end. So I just have to kind of chill out and figure out what my next step is. And so I threw myself into like that work search again after I had done everything. It was so hard because they kept on bringing my hopes up, because there were like 7 steps after they had emailed me about the initial application. They were like, okay, we like this application, now revise it. And then after that, it was like, okay, fly in for interviews, which was 8 hours of interviews. That was intense, but not actually intense. These are really nice people. You're literally just talking to them. And then after that, they wanted references, which I thought for sure after the intense interview session, they were going to like, tell me whether I got it or not. Nope. And then after that, they finally called and told me, which I was making pasta at the time. And I was like, okay, Julia's calling me. I know this is most likely the actual call of whether I got it or not. And then I was like, okay, I have to turn off all these burners. Set my phone down, turn them off all as quick as I can. Right when I get back to the phone, call ends. And I was like, okay, call her back immediately. And then she told me the news. And James walked in literally while I was talking to her. And I really wanted that moment where I told him that I got it, where I was like, James, you wouldn't believe what happened today. And then, we bounce around. And so he walked in while it was happening. He knew that I had gotten it because I was smiling instead of crying. And, I was cry smiling, but, not sad crying. And so then he, of course, after the phone call, was just like, right, we got it, yeah. And then we bounced around, and then screamed a little bit and danced a little bit and then called family and stuff. It was awesome. But yeah, it's never a guarantee, which is a hard thing to like kind of rationalize, when you're like trying to throw yourself into something. It feels like if you spend X amount of time, you should get it, but the world doesn't work that way, unfortunately. My goal is educational video explainers about STEM topics. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I keep losing internet connection and missing parts. Oh no! I plan on posting these videos someday. I have 3 of the videos and I still haven't uploaded them to YouTube, so maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, I can upload this so you can actually see it if you want to. I don't know if you want to go back and watch it, but just so I can at least be in the creative field. I feel that, yeah. You will. If you want to be, you will. I feel like my references is where I'll be a little lost. I know. It's not that you need references for like your career where, they don't expect you to have people who know exactly, what you're into. Like they're not going to be like, how good is she at motion graphics or anything like that. It's literally just to make sure you're not insane. Like they're going to do background checks. They're going to make sure that you're not like a serial killer or something. So they want to know these references. And then that's it. Yay, I'm excited that you got this opportunity. Yes, I'll rewatch for details. These juicy details about my life. But no, it's definitely worth it, and I'm just always so eternally grateful that I got to be here. Oh gosh, it's making me feel so like nostalgic for this year. See, that's a weird thing. Feeling nostalgic for now. Okay, so my battery's running out on my camera, so I guess this is a good place to call it. We're gonna save this guy. Save as, let's do, I called it the library in the original, so I'm gonna be revisited. Revisited, I can spell. There we go. Boom, boom. Alright, I'm going to work on this, and then if you guys follow, I will definitely show the final when I get this finished. It'll take a while because this is a big piece that's got a lot of complicated pieces, but I'm gonna do that sometime, and you can call me on it if I ever take too long. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was wonderful to talk to you, Kendall, and everybody else watching. Love you too. Alright, gotta keep the notes for the application. Oh my gosh, yes. And there will be so much more about the application. There's so much. I can tell you literally books worth. Oh, James is still watching. More to come. Yeah, on Wednesday I'm having another live stream on the Creative Cloud Facebook page. So you can come ask questions and hear the answers to other people's questions that you might not have thought of and all that jazz. I see the beeping battery symbol. Haha. Yeah, it's my brain. It's running out. Oh no. All right, see you guys. Have a great night. And I think I'll just turn this off. Yeah? Is that how we do it? Yeah. Oh, I have to stop streaming. That makes sense. Sorry. Bye.